Welcome to this special program, dear listeners, brought to you by NSFAS, National Student Financial Aid in collaboration with GCIS, Government Communication and Information System. Well, let's start by saying, I know what you were doing last night. You see, I was doing exactly what you were doing. We were glued into our television screens, watching to see and hoping that our children and our children that have made it this time around for their matric exams. Guess what? Tonight's broadcast, it's almost a follow-up to that happened last night, because NSFAS is going to be sharing with us where to from now. This is targeted to all those millions students who were sweating it out at some point and were smiling last night because they did well. I know they did well because the Minister of Basic Education said so. I will challenge whoever says something opposite to that. Tonight, we are not alone. We have Kagiso. Kagiso, you know, this fellow who has all the right questions when it comes to this particular entity of the Department of Higher Education, NSFAS. He is the fellow who's been responding to all your questions, sharing with you pertinent questions around NSFAS. What do you do when you want to be assisted by this particular medical aid? Did you hear that? This scheme. He's here. He's going to be sitting with us for about an hour, sharing with us and advising us what is going to happen to those thousands and thousands of the students. Remember, they're students now. They've jumped the Rubicon. They're no longer learners. They're students now because they've made it through. And Kagiso is not alone. Kagiso is accompanied by Ntate Victor Rambau. He's the head of the business enablement of transformation. He's going to share with us what is that. I mean, people have serious titles. Remember, at some point in time, you'll be given an opportunity to ask questions. Let me remind you what is the number. But remember, you are not going to ask now. We'll indicate to you when you are allowed to ask a question, because we need to share with you so that you have enough information, so that you have enough content, so that you ask intelligent questions like you were doing in your papers. Today, we're using two numbers. Listen up. I know numbers are confusing. The first number that I'm going to share with you is the number that is going to enable you to ask the question. If you do not have enough talk time, Karabo Lance is going to call you back. He's going to take your particulars and call you back so that you have ample time to engage our guests. The second number that I don't want to share with you now is the number that you are going to use for WhatsApp, because we know at times we are very far from the telephone and you have enough money that will enable you to do the WhatsApp. So you will give you an opportunity to do the WhatsApp as well. To kick the ball rolling, I'm going to ask Ntate Kagiso. I'm going to ask Ntate Victor to share with us the fundamental objectives of tonight's program. Why are we here? Why not last week? Why not next week? Why are we having this program today?
Good evening, listeners at home and everyone who's listening to us out there. I think it's proper for us to start by congratulating all the grade 12 learners who received their results today. We've all seen them, like you said in the opening. We were all glued up in our TVs last night to see how the country did. Now, going back to the fundamental question, why are we here? I think it's important for us to re-emphasize to the nation the existence of NSFAS. What is NSFAS? What is our mandate? what do we stand for? NSFAS, as the name says, we are a National Student Financial Aid Scheme. What that means then is we are mandated with funding for university studies and TVET college studies. And our matriculants, because now you've received results, we thought it was important for us to re-engage with you and re-engage with the country so that we all can understand what it is that we need to do when we go to universities. And this really, the background of this is when we started with the journey which we call the student-centered model, certain things changed. University students who studied last year and the year before last will attest to the fact that the application process for funding was extremely long. It actually, at certain stages, people actually gave up. Now, with regards to the student-centered model, we then decided to say, let's engage directly with our students. Now, when you go to the university at the date that you will make that trip to the university, you will no longer find an opportunity for you to go through the financial aid office. However, we've actually extended quite a lot of platforms that you can interact with us directly. So maybe if I could give a context to the student-centered model, what is it all about? How does it benefit students? Students can apply directly to us wherever they are through different platforms, the first one being an online platform. They can actually get an application form which they complete and then forward to us. It could either be a scanned document that we receive through an email, or they can actually post it or fax it to our email. Now, the fundamental issue here around the student-centered model, we're saying when a student arrives at a university, you need to already have your funding decision. You need to be in a position where you know that your studies are going to be paid for. Whereas the process in the past, you will arrive at a university, you will complete the funding application forms. We would then receive those forms, be it around May or June, which as a result, it meant that if we then give you the decision that we're going to fund you, you are going to get your books starting from July. You will get your meal allowances at that time. Now, if the expectation is for you to succeed, how can you then succeed if you're getting books halfway through the year? And I think in a nutshell, I would want to leave it there, that this is really the key reason why we thought it was important for us to engage on this matter.
Wow, Ntate Kagiso, Ntate Victor has touched about some of the elements that goes with this funding. He spoke about the books, he spoke about the tuition fee. Earlier on, we picked up some questions from the listeners because remember this show was promoted. Why don't we have like a generic form of support? Because people are saying in some institutions, people only get tuition fee. In some, people get that as well as accommodation funding, some accommodation as well as clothing allowance, some get books, they exaggerate, some they say they even get entertainment. Please outline the kind of the nature of the support and the funding, and why is it not similar across the institutions?
Well, thank you very much. Let me also start by greeting the listeners and also say that indeed we are excited and would like to congratulate those who have made it through matric. Well, it would be very exciting if one was to receive clothing allowance as part of the support that we give. But as Victor has already alluded, the scheme has evolved over the time. When we started, initially we were providing just financial assistance so that our students can actually be in class and study and pass and move on. But obviously, because they come from poor background and background where they are the first one to go to university, meaning we had to add additional support. Now, the reason why this has differed, families are not the same. You've got families of teachers, you've got families of nurses, or you have families of doctors who would have 2 or 3 kids at university and may need assistance for the fourth one or the fifth one. Or you've got a family where all the kids wants to go to university and the parents are unemployed. So the kind of support that is given to each one of them is based on your circumstances and the background check that we do on each and every applicant. So we don't have like a same approach fits all, because we don't come from the same background. But we work on a threshold, that assists us to at least use it as a barometer, to determine who will most likely be eligible for funding. And one of the things that we've been using was to look at families whose income is below 120,000 per annum. And we said, if all your income at home combined is below that, you are preferred to be the first cohort of people to receive the NSFAS. You could be above that threshold depending on the different of institution that you are and the number of students that require that financial assistance. You could be assisted. And what we have done in analyzing and trying to determine different circumstances, we therefore brought closer assistance of other government departments to say, you have assessed and you have evaluated some learners in terms of their circumstances. Some go to Quintile 1, Quintile 2 schools that are no-fee schools. They don't pay school fees. And as a result, it will be difficult for those learners to go to university and start paying for their fees. So those are the ones that we also prioritize on.
Okay. Our producers there are reminding me to tell the listeners that you are allowed to call, but please hold on with those callers, hold on with those telephone calls. But the number, just get a pen, the number is 0800 142 446. The number again, 0800 142 446. You can call and engage around this. Ntate Kagiso, even you, Ntate Victor, you can come on this. You raise very, very critical point that I know a number of the student activists have been raising, the affordability. You even spoke about the threshold that you are using to gauge how far can you assist people who earn collectively this particular amount. As you are aware, government has come with these interventions as part of its pro-poor policies. We are not doing this because we want to splash the money out there. Government is doing this so that you are not disadvantaged because you are poor. But some of these student activists are saying the nature of the African people, they do not subscribe to a nucleus kind of a family. To them, a family is an extended family where Kagiso is responsible to ensure that your children and your children's children and your aunt's children and your uncle's children are taken care by you, because these other people are not working. So how does that is taken into consideration? Because this fellow can earn up to 600,000 per annum or 700,000, but when he begins to slice this pie, there's no way he can even afford to take his immediate family, by immediate, his children and his sister's children, let alone the neighbors. Do you make interventions there to assist?
Let me start by saying that government's commitment to providing access to higher education for the poor is very clear. And this commitment has been made since the establishment of NSFAS. We are celebrating 25 years today. And I can tell you that it's over 1.5 million students that we have taken to varsity and colleges. And this is specifically to help those that cannot afford. And government even went further to say there are those that we call the missing middle that may necessarily not be poor but also not necessarily be rich. How do we assist them? Government had made a commitment to say, in 2017, we will assist them while we're still trying to find a long-lasting solution. We know there's a commission that is in place. But to go to a quintile one, and I think this is very, very important that we understand this. To go to a school where you don't pay school fees, you walk barefoot, you get meals at your school, that on its own is evident enough. To depend on a social grant, that is evident enough that you really need financial assistance. And those are the people that really are prioritized and are picked up by NSFAS.
I can see Ndate Victor is raring to go. Give it a shot, Ndate Victor.
Yeah, and I think just to add to the point, affordability is really a subjective topic on its own. I could hear when you were giving the background that you are alluding to the black tax scenario. So when we make funding decisions, there's what we call expected family contribution. We will then ask a child who is within that environment where somebody actually earns a salary to provide us with enough information to say, look, much as at home we could be earning 600,000 as a family, but there's 4 of us who are currently at university. I will be the 5th one. Given this scenario, my family can only afford so much. On that basis, we then calculate to see how much can we then fund that particular child. So the funding decisions are not just simply blanket to say you either afford or you don't afford. We look at each scenario on its individual merit. Then we make decisions.
There you are. We know people have been raising this. I'm very, very happy that it is explained right now. I'm sure wherever you are, we are empowering you. When people are advancing these arguments, we're empowering you with an intelligent way of responding to such arguments. The time now is 18:23, 23 minutes past 6. You are still tuned to this special broadcast brought to you by NSFAS, the National Student Financial Aid Scheme, in collaboration with GCIS. We are saying thank you to all these community radio stations that are working with us today. But before we conclude, before we start thanking you stations, we use the yardstick. We are going to check how many of these callers we are going to be getting, and we'll get the callers to tell us which stations that they are listening from. For instance, right now we have Precious from Springs. Precious, you are on air. Ask your question, and please tell us which station are you listening to.
Yes, hello, how are you doing?
Great, Precious.
I'm good, thanks. I'd like to ask a question concerning the fact that some of us apply through our institutions, like, for example, VERT and stuff like that. So when you go online to check on the VERT system, you see that your NSFAS application has been sent to NSFAS, but then when you contact NSFAS, they tell you that the application is not in the system. So this comes with a lot of confusion and clarity. So I'd like to find out more as to how do we go about dealing with this situation, because our registrations are coming up soon and there's still no clarity.
Okay, Precious, share with us which station are you listening right now?
I'm listening to Impact.
Big ups, Impact. You know you never fail us. Okay, let's go very straight to Samuel. Samuel is calling us from Mpumalanga. Samuel, you are on air.
I'm trying to apply for a study loan of NSFAS.
Okay.
It's just that I don't know which document will be needed because I have tried to apply at first, but they didn't reply me. And also now, just that I want to try for a second time.
Okay. Samuel, we've got your numbers. Tune into the radio. We'll respond to that question. Thank you very much. You are trying to get to be assisted. You don't know where to go, because this is one of the questions that our guests are going to be sharing with you in detail. Okay, now let's go back and respond to Precious. Kagiso.
I would rather start with Samuel. The most difficult one, I'll give it to my
okay,
colleague.
okay. Sorry.
Re na le mekgwa e mentši yeo go yona re ka dirang dikgopelo tša rena tša mašeleng go NSFAS. O ka romela ka mokgwa wa poso, o ka romela ka mokgwa wa email, o ka romela ka mokgwa wa website ya rena. We are going to open the second phase of applications. When I say the second phase, I mean those who missed the first opportunity to apply again on the 9th of January, which will be on Monday. And then the closing date will be the 20th of January. Those will be for universities. And for those students that are going to a college, the closing date will be the 14th of February. They are very important documents which are required, and there's no exception to that. You have to provide us with a copy of your ID as an applicant, and you have to provide copy of ID of parents or guardians. And if the parents have passed away, you then need to provide us with a death certificate. We also need a proof of residence. We also need a proof of income in a case where you cannot provide a proof of income because batswadi ba gago ga ba šome. We are go police station wa ngwala affidavit e leng gore o tla tlhalosa ka gae gore na le phela bjang. Or, you know, how do you survive? And gape you need to have a past grade 12 and you're going to a college or to a university. You also need to be a South African, because even if you have an ID but it's not a South African ID, as the National Student Financial Aid Scheme wouldn't be able to fund you.
Nanso ke bathi xa ufuna uxhamla nawe kwezi iza ne-ID yakho, i-ID yabazali okanye i-ID yabantu abakukhulisayo ukuba abazali abekho. Ukuba ngaba baswelekile uyoza nesertificate esichazayo esithi abasekho. Kufuneke uze neproof yokuthi ekhaya bahola malini, so that bazokwazi ukukunceda. Ungafihli because yaziwa lento lena. And bathi ke kufuneke ube ngumhlali wase South Africa khona ukuthi uzoncamla kuyo lento lena. We are very happy to hear this. It means South African government is taking care of our own. We had a caller there again, Precious from Springs. This difficult one is coming to you, Ntate Victor.
Yeah, Precious question, it's a difficult one. But on a serious note, I think what we just need to do here, and Precious is right in what she's saying, there are applications that universities started to capture or acquire those from students. And through the cycle of us starting the entire process of capturing, certain applications arrived at a particular time. Now it's critical for us maybe to establish with Precious, when did she do the follow-up to see where her application is? If she can provide us with an ID number, it will be an easy process for us to do that. I know for a fact that when we started, Wits University was one of the universities that said, look, we had started our process earlier. We have, give or take between 2,000 to 4,000 applications that we have already collected. How are you going to deal with this? And we made an undertaking to say they must all be pushed through to us. We're going to process them as we would any other application. So I think it's important for us to get Precious details so that we can then do a proper follow-up on the application.
Thank you very much. We do have, in fact, I can safely say that before we go to Padco in Arua North and Thabiso Polokwane, let's share with you the second number. I'm sure you do have a pen. This number is a WhatsApp number. Please drop your WhatsApp and ask your question. Our guest will try and respond. The number for WhatsApp is 079 8861 203. Here is the number again. WhatsApp number, it's 079 8861 203. Now, in that order, we're going to have Patko from Arua North and Thabiso from Polokwane. Ntate Patko, you're on air. Patko,
Ewe,
thetha tata.
masibulise kunjani?
Amqabaqabi levinika sova wena tata.
La ndivuyela lonto nami ngandipotise kulo nyaka omsha ndibulise kutata uKagiso na kutata uVictor nakuwe Chief Bawulenox. Umbuzo wami oqala mina
Patko, awuna airtime. I don't know what happened. Patko, we'll try and get in touch with you. We'll call you. I don't know what happened. Can we just go straight to Tabiso? Tabiso from Polokwane, you're on air.
Yes. How are you?
Very fine, sir. How are you?
I'm good. Yes, I just wanted to know something. This question is posed to the NSFAS.
Yes, sir. You're on air. You can ask.
Okay, so I'm a vet student, ne?
Yes, sir.
So we were told that since we are funded by NSFAS in 2016, we are not expected to apply for 2017. So the only thing we had to do was to create my NSFAS account.
Yes, sir.
Account, yes. Mm-hmm. So now we did create that, but now the problem is we did not get a feedback from NSFAS so far. And we are supposed to be registering today and tomorrow.
Okay.
You see.
Okay.
So my question is, when will NSFAS give us a feedback?
Thank you very
much.
Okay. Thank you very much, Tabiso. In fact, I can assure you, you're asking that question on behalf of countless of other students. I can assure you, by the end of this program, you'll have all the right answers. Now, let's go back to Patko. Patko,
all right,
you must buy a time, Chief Patko. You must buy a time.
All right, my chief, umbuzo wami oqala mandiphinde ngiphinde. Umbuzo wami oqala ngifuna ukuqonda ukuba kungoba kutheni NSFAS ivale nge-30 kaNovember for i-application for abantu abesenza u-grade 12 last year u-2016 ilokuthi i-results khona ziphuma namhlanje. Ne-question yami yokuqala leyo. Bengicela udata bacacise kunabantu abadala abamameleyo ngapha emakhaya. Indaba ka-quantal 1 no-quantal 2 zisebenza ngaluphi uhlobo ikwayintoni leyo. Then umbuzo wami ugqibela ndifuna ukuqonda ukuba ingaba ke ngoku abantu abahlala ezilalini ingakumbi ku-deep in rural areas ufumane ukuthi bathatha 2 hours ubheke down and then aye for into akwazi ukudownloada iform okanye apply online. Ingaba ke ngoku kutheni singenzi lula lento ithi xa basazi ukuthi unyaka kuyaphela for abantu aba-interested ukuthi baza-applya for NSFAS abancedise ngemali bathathe badrope the forms ezikolweni apho khona ukuthi each and every person ezazi ukuthi ndifuna u-applya ndihambe ndiyofunda evarsity next year afumane i-form and then bazithathe as a bunch ezikolweni and then bazithumele ku-NSFAS. The last question ile yokuba kungoba kutheni baye bastopa the bursaries umzekelo kwi-TVET colleges because xa senza uphando sifumana ukuthi well distortiwe onke abantu ba-apply online. Ndiyabulela kakhulu ntate Lennox ngizamamela kuTakalani community radio.
Sibamba ngazo zombini Tate Victor difficult as questions zikapatko ngicela siqale ngazo
okay Patko, maybe let's start with the one, why did we close on the 30th of November whereas matric results only came out yesterday? I think if you appreciate our process, we received the applications from across the entire country. Some came in paper form, some were either faxed or emailed to us, and including those that were captured online. We had to do the evaluation on all applications. If we had then waited to say, let's wait until the results for us to close the application process, it would have given us another month to come with funding decisions, which would then meant that we were only going to tell students that you funded in March. And that is the basic decision why we then said, let's take away the process from universities so that when students go to universities, they already know that they are funded. That is basically the reason why we did that. The other one, which was very critical, and I think it's important for me to address that, and it's a suggestion really that came from him to say, why can't we drop forms at schools? This year, what we did together with different partners, this would be in the form of Isibindi, which is part of the Department of Social Development, NYDA, which is our National Youth Development Agency, the Vodacom Foundation. We then extended our network of points where students can actually go and apply, including the Methodist Church of Southern Africa. But be that as it may, we know South Africa is very big. We may not have reached each and every student. Hence, we are again saying there's an opportunity for people to apply beginning of this year. And I must admit, the idea of dropping forms at schools is something that this year we should be able to follow that through. Then maybe before I hand over to Kagisho to answer two questions around the quintal 1 to 3 and the TVET colleges bursaries. Tabiso from Wits University, you mentioned something that is very important, and this message we need to actually re-emphasize it across the entire cohort of students that were funded in 2016. NSFAS made a decision to say we will then migrate all students who were funded in 2016 to 2017, provided they meet our minimum criteria with regards to advancing to the following year, which is that of saying you need to at least pass 50% of the modules that you've registered for. Now, for us to make these decisions of funding you to this year, we are dependent on universities submitting results to us so that we can then process that. But if I could just maybe assure Tabiso, if you've passed all your modules, Tabiso, or you've passed more than 50%, I can safely say your funding is guaranteed. When you go to university, you will not find any difficulties. And just in conclusion, the university that you mentioned, we actually started doing the processing of their information as early as yesterday, and I'm confident that during registration there shouldn't be any challenges, predominantly with all continuous students as we call them.
Yeah. No, thank you very much, Victor. I think in addition to what Victor had said in terms of us making funding decision for continuing students, it's important to also note that following the fees must fall protest, there were exams which were deferred to the beginning of this year, and there are some exams which were written very late in the year. And some institutions would really be affected by the outcome because certain decisions cannot be made without the results. And that's where the synergy and the work between NSFAS and the institution is very important in this regard. To answer Patco on the quintal 1 to 3 schools, these are really, to explain, like I said earlier, these are the schools that are classified by the Department of Basic Education as the no-fee schools. You know, learners that go here, we know they come from most rural places that we can find. And that is an attempt for us to actually make sure that those that goes from those areas are not missed during the application process. We are also not saying that if you go to quintal 4 or quintal 5 school, because someone is sponsoring your high school fees, NSFAS will decline that. But what we will do, the minute we know that you go to a higher quintal school, we would actually require additional information as to who is funding you so that we can make determination of your financial need. And also I must say that we, as NSFAS, we haven't really removed the bursary for TVET. In fact, when NSFAS started, was more of a loan scheme. In fact, now we actually give more bursaries and then loans. So all the students that go to all the 50 TVET colleges in South Africa get bursaries and is still existing. And this is the support of the Department of Higher Education and Training.
I'm not sure if you managed to respond to, what was his name? Was it Tabiso, who spoke about the feedback?
Of the results?
No, the feedback that they were told that they needed not to reapply because they were taken care of.
Yes. Victor touched just a little bit. What we have done as NSFAS is that we said we have listened to all the complaints that we have been getting that our students every year have to apply for funding. They must go and submit the very same documents that they submitted last year to get funding that will carry them forward. So we said we are bringing that to an end. Come 2017, our students don't have to reapply again.
Okay.
So we said in 2016, all the students that had received NSFAS, they are not supposed to apply.
Okay.
So we are getting their data from universities and we are making the funding decisions.
Okay.
And the results have started coming out as of yesterday, as Victor had said.
Okay.
And we will continue giving those results as we receive their final year results.
Okay, it's very tempting. It's great. Before I take this, here's Zodwa from Nelspruit. After Zodwa from Nelspruit, we'll go straight to Lebohang. Zodwa, Lebohang, yes. Okay, Lebohang, you're on air.
Hi.
Okay, talk to us, Lebo.
Yes, I'm Lebohang from North Riding, and I'm listening through Rainbow FM. I just want to find out, I'm calling with regard to my niece. She just passed her matric.
Mm-hmm.
The father is not working. The mother just got retrenched over a year ago, and she passed very well. She got a university entrance. Now, with the system that we do not apply at the universities anymore, now we have to now apply online. I didn't hear that part. How do we go about? Because now she's got a university entrance, but we don't know how to go about and apply because she wants to study law.
Thank you very much, Lebo. We need people like you, people who are going to take over when we're confronted with some of these unfortunate circumstances. This program, in fact, tonight's program, is almost designed for people like you, Lebo, people who are there to try and assist. I'm not even going to waste time. I will just go to our guest to respond to your question. I hope you have a pen, Lebo, because we're going to give you.
Thank you. I'll listen offline. Thank you.
Thank you, Lebo.
Thanks.
Okay, I think firstly, congratulations to your niece, Lebo. She did very well. We're actually proud to see young people coming through as your niece did. We just said in our opening that the application window is going to open on the 9th of January. Where you can actually get help, and again this depends on accessibility to resources where you are. The first one is you can go directly to NSFAS website, which is www.nsfas.org.za, where you can actually download our application form if you won't have enough time to capture the application online. You download the application form, you complete it, and you send it through to us at NSFAS. It could either be through our post box, which is Private Bag X1 at Plumstead in Cape Town, 7800, or you can actually scan the documents and send them through to us via an email at apply@nsfas.org.za. And lastly, the institution where your niece wants to go to, they actually have online centers at your old financial aid office, if I could call them that. If you go in there and ask and say, look, I would want a financial assistant, can you please help me with facilitating the application, they will with no doubt help you to complete that application. And it's important that immediately on the 9th, when you wake up, the first thing that you do, get on that transport and go to facilitate this process.
Lebu, we've got your number. We're going to call you on the 9th and remind you, because you see, you cannot raise something this important and you don't make a follow through. Please, Lebu, make sure, and if you have problems, you have our number, call us. We'll try and see how best can we assist you. Let's go straight to Isaac. Let's go back to Isaac. Isaac, we are on air. Isaac? Okay, Isaac, are you calling us or we're calling you? Okay, whilst we're still waiting for Isaac, Kagiso, are you able very, very quickly to share with us the different types of funding that you offer as NSFAS? You can take us through these steps, because you might find out people might be okay with this particular one, but they might need your intervention on this particular one.
Okay. Let me start by saying that NSFAS administers different funding on behalf of different funders. So we work with a lot of government departments. I mean, one of the major contributor it's the Department of Basic Education that gives us money to fund the teachers. That's known as Funza Lushaka program. But also as NSFAS, as the Department of Higher Education and Training, there is an additional funding that focuses on teachers. There is also funding that focuses on those that wants to become social workers, which is funded by the Department of Social Development. We also have a dedicated funding for persons with disabilities. And this is very, very important because this funding is to ensure that all those with disabilities that have made it are able to access higher education with the full assistance of government. We also have the skills, National Skills Fund, which focuses mainly on scarce and critical skills in the country, because the policy of NSFAS is not really to predetermine what a student must study at the moment. At the moment, if you have made your choice and you have been accepted at the university, we made provision of funding to ensure that you are able to follow your career path. So those are amongst others that we give. We also have a funding which focuses on children of military veterans, and that we are given by the Department of, but they don't study defense related programs, but they can choose any other program that they want to do.
Okay. I just received a piece of paper from our colleagues over there that are busy with WhatsApp. They're telling me we have over 120 messages streaming from that side, but they went through those questions. They've picked up few. Here are the questions. What does awaiting evaluation mean? At some point, we are going to have to respond to this. They want to know, what does awaiting evaluation mean? So I don't see you writing. The other one is landlords want letters confirming accommodation. I suppose they want to know, are we able to be provided with these letters to take care of that? Because they're going to be kicked out if they don't produce these letters. Another student from UJ, will NSFAS fund accredited off-campus accommodation? If you have an accommodation out there, will NSFAS fund that? Another one, what is her name? But in Maripiane, they wanted to find out. In fact, they are saying they can't find postal code on online application. Can't find postal code on online application. And the last one is that can NSFAS fund one subject? Do you fund one subject? Okay, all right, there's another one. When will NSFAS pay funded students registration? Is I patalani registration? Okay, as we are interrogating that, let's go back and see if Isaac is back on air. Do we still have Isaac? Okay, Isaac, you're on air.
Okay, thank you. Isaac from Hammanskraal. I played the 5 it's August, ne? And then my friends gonna play maybe a month after that. So probably I got application awaiting evaluation, and then I evaluating, and then I can apply it before.
Okay. You see, you are asking almost a similar question with one of the students who asked this question through WhatsApp. please listen on the radio. Can we just go straight to Zodwa from Nelspruit? Zodwa, you're on air. Zodwa?
Yebo.
Okay, you ungabuza siswam.
How are you, sir?
Very fine, thank you. And how are you, Zodwa?
I'm good. I'm phoning from Nelspruit in Mpumalanga province. I'm listening to BCR community radio station.
Wow.
And I've got a question here. My niece applied for NSFAS last year. She wanted to do medicine. Unfortunately, can I continue?
Yes, continue. I'm listening to you with keen interest. In fact, we're short of doctors.
Okay. So she applied for NSFAS. Unfortunately, they didn't respond to her application for more than 6 months.
Okay.
Then applied with the Department of Education in Mpumalanga.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, they said to her they won't be able to fund medicine. Instead, they've channeled her to chartered accountants. Okay, decided to take it, which is not a right thing for her. All right, she started to study at VET last year. Then, end of October, she received a letter from Credit Bureau saying that she's owing VET, she's also owing at rest. Now she is so confused at what must she do, because in fact she doesn't like the accountant thing. She wants to pursue with her medicine. So now, when is NSFAS going to apply her? How long does it take to respond on the application form? Number two, she wants to know now, because she's...
Okay, continue. Okay, Zodwa, I don't know what happened, but we are getting the gist, and I know we do have your number. We will try and make a follow-up, because, you see, it does not sit well to NSFAS and to government when people have a first choice. The next thing, they were advised nicely not to pursue that they wanted to pursue. We will try and get back to you. We will call you. I'm told we have a caller from Canada who is not giving us their name. A caller from Canada, you are on air. Oh yeah, we lost the caller. Okay, okay. I don't know. They're using their hands to communicate that side. Okay. I hope we did get the gist of what Zoto was saying. Can we try and it's very, very unfortunate. Can we try and address it? And Dr. Victor?
Yeah, so Zoto's question, actually, if we could bring her back, because there's some context that one will need to get. Because firstly, she started by saying they applied to NSFAS 6 months ago, which, that statement then suggests that they actually applied at a university applying for NSFAS. They didn't apply directly to us. So it is difficult for one to then make a follow-through as to what happened in that application. And it's very unfortunate, actually, Zodo's call, it's one call that unsettles me a bit, because if we are having a shortage of medical doctors in the country and people are diverted to different careers because of lack of funding, it's actually a worrying issue for us as NSFAS and I suppose the government at large. So I would then propose that maybe we need to reconnect with Zodo so that one can get more context around what she was saying.
Okay. Just talking about reconnection with Zodwa. Now it's going to be that part. Zodwa, you are going to be engaging, not via me. We are talking with our guests now. Talk together. Tell them your story. They will ask you questions. You are on air, Zodwa.
Okay, thank you.
Zodwa, I was saying, one needs more context in what you were sharing with us, because something does not appear to be right with regards to the process, on how the funding application was dealt. Because firstly, you're saying your niece applied 6 months ago, and as far as we know from NSFAS perspective, we opened our applications in August, which then says, just below 5 months, because we closed in November. So what I wanted to know is, this entire process, how was it dealt? Where did she apply? If possible, do we have references for fair application? Because for me, from what you've explaining to us, it sounds like your niece is one of the brilliant students that this country deserves. We have a shortage with medical doctors. It's one skill that, at a country level, we cannot afford not to pay attention to that. So if you don't mind, can you just give us more detail around this application so that we can follow it through with proper, context to it?
Okay. She applied in 2015 for 2016 because she was doing a trade in 2015. Then she applied in 2015 so that in 2016 she can go to Medunsa. So unfortunately there was no response from NSFAS. Then they decided to apply to the Department of Education last year. Then she was taken by the Department of Education in June last year.
Okay. Now I understand what happened. You see, one of the critical issues that maybe if one could address this is the reason why we took away the application process from a decentralized, environment, which was your universities, to one environment, which is us at NSFAS, is because students were subjected to different decision criteria, which, the result of which is your niece was not accepted. So my advice as things stands now is we're opening again on the 9th of January.
9th of January.
Yes. If she could please resubmit that application, it will come directly to NSFAS. It's not going to go via a university. A decision will be made at NSFAS. Now, I suppose the critical question will then be, is she applying to continue with their, chartered accountant studies, or she would want to pursue medicine?
She wants medicine.
Which then will help us, with regards to how that application is dealt. And I suppose, as part of your submission, if you can use maybe this engagement as a reference to say, we had a discussion on air, you said let's resubmit, this is our application. And preferably for us, if your application can come through an email to our apply@nsfas mailbox, give context to the story that you've just shared with us.
All right.
Then we should be able to pick it up and see how best can we assist in this regard.
And Dr. Victor, she spoke about her having been handed over. Yes, I'm not sure where I'm putting you now. I'm frying you, so to say. Do you have a way of dealing with that? If people are handed over to credit bureau and whilst they are not working, they are students and...
There is a way to deal with that. You will recall that during the first Fees Must Fall movement, the minister made an undertaking that any deserving NSFAS student, those who were enrolled in 2013, 2014 and 15 at universities, the university must then make submission of those students' list, names, to say this student or universities. Now, maybe just to get clarity, the credit bureau demand or listing, is that on a debt that she incurred in 2016 or was it in 2015?
In 2016.
2016. This one will be a difficult one for us to deal, but I think maybe we will take your details and see how best we can help you without having to delay the process. Okay.
Thank you very much, Zodwa. We've got your details. You will get a call to take this situation. Now, Pulane, I know you are there. Just hold on. Let's go through to some of the WhatsApp. Remember, we invited people to ask questions. Now, I'm going to just go through the last round of questions from WhatsApp before we go to Pulane from Klerksdorp. I was funded while studying at TVET. Can I apply for funding at a university? That is one question. The other one is I lost my cell phone, and the cell phone number is the one that was provided during my application process. Now, it looks like I'm unable to get my results. Whoever has been trying to communicate with me, I'm sure they are using the phone that I'm no longer having. What can I do to undo this scenario? Another one, I applied for funding for my first course, but UNIS accepted me for my second choice. Will I be funded? The last one, can high school learners in grade 9 and 12 apply for NSFAS for TVET funding? These are WhatsApp questions. As we are going through these questions, let us go to Pulane from Klexop. Pulane, you're on air. Dumelang me.
Tobela.
Yeah, me.
Even if it's more than 10 years school.
Okay. I love the sound of that. You are never old to learn. But you are going to be assisted by experts. They know how to respond to this. Was that the only question, Pulane?
That is?
Okay, thank you, Pulane. Listen to the radio. Now let's go to our WhatsApp. And remember, to you listeners, we had an opportunity to engage our CEO earlier on. He was saying all these nice things, and really we would like to leave this room because I'm looking at the time. We have about 2 minutes to leave the studio. But we cannot leave this without the message from the CEO. But now, quickly, let's respond.
Let me shoot. If you are in grade 12 and you want to go and study at a TVET college, funding will be given to you. In fact, we encourage most grade 12 learners to actually go to TVET. That's where the skills, the critical skills of the country that are needed are found. Can I be funded for my second choice? Of course, you can be funded for your second choice. If you have lost your contact details, it's important to call our contact center. It's 08600 67327, or you can actually go on my NSFAS account on our website, where you can update your details, or you can send us an email at info@nsfas.org.za. If you can't do all these things, you can send us a direct message on our Twitter or on our Facebook account. Paying funded students for registration, indeed NSFAS has been doing this. We have been paying registration for some of our funded students, and the money we use to pay upfront registration is the money we actually get from people that are paying us back for the money that we have given. So it's very, very important at the same time to encourage people to continue to repaying their loans, because we will fund more students. The new NSFAS funding model is actually encouraging students to actually have a easy process of registration without worrying about having to pay any upfront payment. The postal code on our online application, we have noticed this as a challenge, and also some addresses and some qualifications in the first phase of our online application. We are currently working on that. When we open on Monday the new online application, some of these issues would have been resolved. I'll leave some of the questions to Victor.
Yeah, I think there was one critical question that talked about what does weighting evaluation mean. I think maybe just to explain the process, before we can make the final funding decision, we need to have received your final results. It could be your grade 12 results, or the results for those who are at university. We need to receive your year-end results. Then there were issues around landlord demanding letters, and will NSFAS pay, landlord that are within the university space. We have gone through an extensive roadshow to try and onboard as many as possible service providers, particularly landlords, because we know accommodation is a challenge. We don't want to see any NSFAS funded student arriving at university and they find themselves on the street or they're squatting with friends. So that challenge has been dealt with. Then there was an issue around, can NSFAS fund one subject? We need to actually get more understanding there. Is it an issue of saying a student doesn't want to take a whole lot of subjects at the same time and they want to do one or two at a time? Or is it because they're only left with one subject? But be that as it may, I think what is critical for us as NSFAS is to see that our young people progress in their lives, and if the one subject is stopping you from progressing, we surely should be able to consider that.
And that Victor and that Kagiso, I'm sure you can see we just scratched the surface. The need for more programs of this similar nature cannot be overemphasized. I'm sitting here, I can see the flashing there. Right now, before we say bye to you, we had an opportunity to engage our CEO, Ndate Msulwa Daca. Ndate Msulwa Daca shared with us so many pertinent questions. This is what he said when he was discussing with Karabolans.
This is another live radio link-up brought to you by the Government Communications, GCIS.
As the National Student Financial Aid Scheme, we congratulate the class of 2016 on an excellent set of results in their National Senior Certificate. And we further congratulate those that have achieved top marks in the respective areas. We're particularly proud of and encouraged by the marked improvement in the results of learners that come from Quintile 1 to Quintile 3 schools, as those learners are our priority in terms of funding. And this performance supports our resolve to increase access to financial aid for the needy and academically deserving students from those backgrounds. We are pleased to confirm that with the full implementation of the NSFAS student-centered model, NSFAS has made plans already to ensure that when those students go to universities, there will be a seamless registration process for those that qualify for financial aid. NSFAS would also be reopening applications for all learners and students who have not applied during the first window period, which we opened from the 1st to the 30th of November 2016. All applications for students who want to study at TVET colleges will be opened again on the 9th of January and will close on the 14th of February 2017. We'll also be opening applications for students who want to study at universities on the 9th of January and will close on the 20th of January 2017. Once again, congratulations to the class of 2016.
Well, on that congratulatory note, that was our CEO, Msulwa Daca, outlining some of these things. But, we are leaving the last for the best. Remember, Pulane from Craigstop wanted to know if she can be funded. Now we're closing our program tonight by responding to that question.
Yeah, I think it's extremely encouraging to see that people want to continue to learn. We as NSFAS, our message is that if an institution of learning has actually accepted you, you can make a submission of your funding request to us. We will process it at any given stage.
Well, I would like to thank all the listeners and all that have sent messages through Facebook, through Twitter and WhatsApp. And I want to say that we will answer all the questions on our Twitter and on our Facebook and on our website. So the answers which we did not provide here in this program can be found on our social media program. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. On that note, we have come to the end of our program. We are going to meet again. I know they're going to be coming back here. They were very happy about your engagement. Bye-bye.